Hey guys, it's Kayla from Killing It With Coupons, and I am here to share with you guys my Walgreens haul for this week. This is, I believe, the last week of the beauty sale that is going on, which I ended up doing. However, I am going to have to, I think, call Walgreens, like the customer service, and actually get something kind of fixed here because I ended up actually not getting back my $10 in Walgreens cash for spending the $25, the beauty promotion that was going on. And that was actually because it looks like they replaced or they substituted the Neutrogena, this oil-free eye makeup remover. I had purchased the smaller sized one, which was the 3.8 ounce bottle, and they must have been out of stock because they replaced it with the 5.5 ounce bottle. And normally I was always under the impression, in fact I actually think I'd done this once, that if they're out of stock of something and ends up being like the same product and everything like that, and or that product still counts towards the promotion that's going on, you will still end up getting credited for that promotion with the Walgreens cash. It's just almost like they replace the item and mark it down, if that makes sense. But when I added it up again, the items for the beauty promotion, again, they still ended up totaling over $25. So I should have still gotten back that Walgreens cash. I did use Walgreens cash to pay, but it was covered by these other items that I ended up, purchasing. So like I said, I still should have gotten that back. I don't know why I didn't. So like I said, I'm probably going to wind up contacting the Walgreens like customer, service or whatever, which the last time I did, they were super helpful in getting my Walgreens cash back for that. I had a different issue with something else a different time where they said they weren't able to replace something, but they did. But again, my understanding is that, like, again, if they're replacing it with an item that still qualifies for, like, again, the promotion or whatever, that you should still get it back. Because, like, again, if it was a deal where, oh, if you buy two, Colgate toothpastes and you'll get, $4 back in Walgreens cash, and they're out of stock of one of the, toothpastes, and they just replace it with a different toothpaste that's still part of that promotion, I would be under the impression that, like I said, you still got that back, which, like I said, I could have sworn that they've done before and it still worked out fine for me. So I can't exactly understand why that ended up not working out, like I said, like it was supposed to. So again, I will probably try and call and get that handled, because again, from everything that I can see, adding everything up and figuring out, like I said, all the deals and stuff like that, I think that the only thing I can really come up with was that they substituted it. And like I said, the substituted larger size item still counts towards the promotion as well. It wasn't like they substituted with something that didn't count towards the promotion. So like I said, it's a little bit frustrating, but I will hopefully be able to get that handled and taken care of. The other thing that, again, didn't work out slightly, which wasn't a big deal, and I kind of wasn't entirely sure that it was going to. Sometimes with the curbside pickup at Walgreens, you will get a paper receipt. I do not get it all the time. In fact, for the majority of when I was shopping at Walgreens, I didn't at the beginning. Then all of a sudden I started getting it. Then it seemed like it was like completely random, and this week I did not get it. But with the Purex, you can get on the packs and also the liquid that are on sale this week. You can get 50 cents back from Ibotta. It's a limit of 1 on each of them. But like I said, I did not end up getting a paper receipt back, so I cannot submit to Ibotta for that. But that would have been about $1 difference if I would have been able to. And like I said, I kind of knew that I might not. And it wasn't going to be a make or break for the deal for me if I didn't end up getting it back, but I just knew that it was a possibility. So anyways, I will go into the deals and share with you guys what is going on for this week. All these items here on the table that you guys see would have cost $125.29. Now, the larger size Neutrogena, the eye makeup remover, this is actually $5.50 more than the one that I originally had, the substituted one. So technically, the item value of all of these items is actually $130.79. Now, I paid out of pocket $43.35, which was pretty expensive, and that was because, though, of the Crest deal that was going on with these Crest whitening products. And so I had to spend a lot out of pocket, and I couldn't use Walgreens cash to cover it, unfortunately. So it was pretty high out of pocket this week, but I thought that the Crest, the whitening products, were such a good deal this week that I was willing to spend that much out of pocket and still get almost all of it back in Walgreens cash. So I did use $10 in Walgreens cash, which sure I was safe to use. And that's because these items actually totaled about a little bit over $9, and this was actually about $1 over what I needed to be able to earn this Walgreens cash back. So that's why I had about $10 in free, safe to use Walgreens cash items, and that was what I was able to use. And like I said, the Walgreens cash would not have affected that beauty deal at all. In fact, what I actually did ahead of time was I put all of the beauty deal items in my cart first, just checked to see with the promo code if the you know, everything would still work out, and it did. And then I did the same thing with the Crest as well, just to figure out how much exactly in Walgreens cash, and with the promo code that I was using as well, I would have been safe to have used. And like I said, with the other items that I added in there, I was, and I, like I said, I double, triple, quadruple checked my math multiple times, and everything was good. So I did use $10 in Walgreens cash. So if I wouldn't have, again, this would have been about $50 out of pocket, which is pretty expensive. But I earned back $30.76 in Walgreens cash, and like I said, I should get credited back the $10 in the Walgreens cash for the beauty promotion that is going on. So like I said, I will call and get that back hopefully, and it will be $40.76 that I earned back, making my net cost for all of these items just $12.59. Which is absolutely crazy to me, because that is less money than if I would have just ended up really doing just the beauty deal and these Crest whitening products. These are over $20 per item, so that is like amazing. There is a really crazy good deal going on with the Crest deal for this week. The Crest pens, these are $24.99 on sale. Regularly they're $29.99, and we have a $10 off digital coupon. We also have, with the Crest 3D white strips, these are $29.99 on sale, regularly $35.99, and we have a $10 digital coupon on that as well. Now, the only promo code that you are going to be able to use for this sale is going to be WAG10, which will take 10% off, and there's no minimum that you need to meet for that, but do not use those MAR 15 or MAR 20, because the amount that those promo codes take off will be too high, that you will be under the $50, which you will need to meet in order to get back the Walgreens cash on this deal. So like I said, with the promo code WAG10, it will take $3.50 off. So your subtotal after the promo code, which is always what we are paying attention to when we are talking about earning back Walgreens cash, will be $51.48. So like I said, you would only be able to use like $1 in Walgreens cash if you were doing just this deal to be able to cover your out-of-pocket, because you would be $1.48 above the $50 that you need to earn back the Walgreens cash. So your out-of-pocket for these items would be $31.48. And like I was saying, that is a pretty high out-of-pocket, but you cannot use any other Walgreens cash other than potentially just $1 in order to cover that, because again, of the spend deal that is going on with this. We do have two deals that are kind of double stacking here, and it is $15 in Walgreens cash back when you spend $50 in Crest whitening products. We also have a coupon that you need to make sure that you clip, which is when you spend $45 on P&G oral care products, you will get $15 in Walgreens cash back as well. So your net cost for these items will be just $1.48 for two, or 74 cents each. These are $30 plus items you are getting for just 74 cents as a net cost, and you're saving $64.50 on these, which like I said, I think is absolutely amazing. I almost never ever get to deals on those things that are not still probably about $10, $15, you know? So that is crazy good deal. Like I said, when I saw that, I was like, I know my out-of-pocket Walgreens is going to be pretty high this week because of that Crest deal that is going on. And like I said, there's really not going to be any way that you're going to be able to make your out-of-pocket less unless you have like gift cards and things like that, which if you were doing those gift card deals though at at Walgreens last week with those in-store deals on the Walgreens like cotton products, the like, you know, cotton swabs and cotton balls and things like that. If you have those Walgreens gift cards, you technically could use those to cover your out-of-pocket. But other than that, you're going to be left to pay around $30 plus tax out of pocket for that. And my tax was actually really, really expensive. It was like $7 for all of this stuff in addition to that. Now with the beauty deal, like I said, I am most likely going to try and contact Walgreens and see if I can still get that $10 back. But the beauty deal that I ended up working out with, again, this is the last week of that beauty promotion that is going on. We have had it for pretty much the whole month, but it is when you spend $25 in select beauty products, you will get $10 in Walgreens cash back. And that includes things like the hair care and also makeup and things like that as well. So what I ended up doing was I picked up 2 of the Dove products. These are on sale for $6.49. Buy one, get one 50% off. The regular price is $6.49, but again, buy one, get one 50% off, so it'll be $9.73. At regular price of the $6.49, they would have been $12.98. We do have a $4 off 2 digital coupon on that, so you'll be left to pay $5.73 for that. And again, we're not figuring that that's actually what we're really paying because we will be earning back that $10 in Walgreens cash for these items. The Garnier, these are on sale for $4.49. They're regularly $6.29, so the 2 of them would have been $12.58. And we have a $3 off 2 digital coupon, so these will be $5.98 for the 2, which again, we are not counting that as our final cost because we are still earning back the $10. Now, like I was saying, with the Neutrogena, you're going to want to make sure that you are picking up the 3.8 ounces. You could either do that, or you could also pick up the makeup wipes, which are priced the exact same, and that coupon, I believe, still applies on those items as well. But again, unfortunately, they did not have that one in stock, and they substituted with the larger one, which is, like I said, what I believe is actually counting towards me not getting back the Walgreens cash on that. But this larger size of the 5.5 ounces is actually, again, $12.99, but they adjust that down to the $7.49, which is when they do have an out-of-stock item, they will replace it with something that is, again, possibly larger or just a different, like, scent flavor variety or something like that. Because when they initially accepted the order, it said it was in stock, but unfortunately, it was not when they went to go and pick the order. So with this, though, we have a $3 off digital coupon, so you'd be left to pay $4.49. The other item I picked up, because I was going to be just a slight bit under the $25 that I needed in order to earn that with the promo code, I purchased the Wet n Wild liner, which is $1.29 regular price. So the promo code that I ended up using, again, was the WAG10, which I was using to apply for these crests, and it also, again, applied to that and all of my other items. So it took $1.62 off with that promo code WAG10, which is 10%. So my subtotal after the promo code, but before any of the manufacturer coupons, which is, again, always what we need to pay attention to, you're talking about earning back Walgreens cash, it was $25.87 for these items. But after all of my coupons applied, it was just $15.87 for these. I should have earned back the $10 in Walgreens cash for spending $25. And like I said, I did place all of these items in my cart separate from any of the other deals that were going on without Walgreens cash or anything like that, and check just to make sure when the promo code applied and everything like that, that would still work out. And the other way you can also check is once your order is actually fulfilled, if you go through and check to see the price of all of the items that they are like cost as the return value, that is what the price of the item will be, to see if it meets the again, that $25 or whatever your spend promotion is. Mine was still the $25.87, even with, again, that substituted item. So like I said, the only thing that I can figure is that the substituted item ended up not because they substituted it, then it was like it took it away from being part of that deal or whatever, which, like I said, I've could have sworn that I've done before, and I have not had an issue with, like, again, if it was like a toothpaste or something like that they did have to substitute, and it's been fine with a spend deal or with a, you know, buy two, you know, get, you know, Walgreens cash back or whatever. So like I said, I can't really figure that one out entirely. But again, after earning that back, and again, if you were doing just that deal itself, it would be just a net cost of $5.87 for all 6 items, which is less than $1 per item. And if you don't even figure in that liner, that's still just around $1 per item, which is like really, really awesome. It's just a little bit over $1. So again, I thought that that was a really great price for that beauty deal that was going on the last week of the beauty deal, and having those, again, the Dove and the Garnier and getting the Neutrogena all for under $6 for those items, I thought was really good for, again, like the shampoos and conditioners and stuff like that. I probably would spend around that price on, you know, shampoos and conditioners normally anyway, like $1.50 or so. So I thought that that was an awesome deal. The other things that I ended up picking up this week, like I said, these were on sale, were the Purex. These are on sale for $1.99. There's no limit, no coupon needed. It is just on sale. And again, if you do get a paper receipt, either if you go in store or if you just end up doing this deal as a pickup order and you do get the receipt back, you can submit to Ibotta for 50 cents back on the Purex liquid and also 50 cents back on the Purex packs. And it's a limit of 1 rebate offer per different rebate. If you buy more than that, which you can, you just wouldn't be able to submit for any more of those Ibotta rebates. But these retail at $8.99. So the 2 of them would have been $17.98. We paid just $3.98 out of pocket for, again, the sale. But we also did have that promo code, which was WAG10, which for that and the finish took an additional 22 cents off as well, which I'll get into that in a second. But again, I didn't even really figure that in here. I just said that there was an extra 22 cents that came off for just those 3 items as well, because that was the difference of what was not coming off in those different spend deals. So again, for these items, I saved $14 on just those 2 bottles. So again, that is a really good deal if you do have a lot of Walgreens cash that you earned. For example, if you end up doing this Crest deal and you're like, oh my goodness, I have to spend $30 out of pocket, you could turn around and end up using most of that Walgreens cash that you earned and roll it onto paying for your out of pocket on picking up some of these laundry detergents, which would be really awesome as well. The other deal I did, which was on the Finish dishwasher detergent, these the Power Ball 18 tabs, or I think you can also pick up the Quantum, which I believe is 11 tabs. Those are on sale for $5.24. They're regularly $6.99, but we have a $3 off digital coupon, so you'll be left to pay just $2.24 for that, which again, I think is a pretty good price for that. And again, because I was buying that, I was able to then use that plus the 2 Purex, and then also the $1 extra that was on the Crest items, was able to use $10 in Walgreens cash safely to cover my out of pocket for some of these items. And again, like I said, an extra 22 cents came off for those 3 items for the promo code WAG10 that I was using. So again, overall, I thought that for only $12.59 as a net cost for all these items was a really good deal. Again, I will need to call and get the $10 hopefully in the Walgreens cash back for this beauty deal. The last time I did, they were really helpful. It was, you know, it worked out fine last time, and I'm hoping that, like I said, I'll get that back. But I thought, again, for $12.59 for these items that are regularly $125, I thought was such a good deal. Even again, too, for some reason, I'm not able to get that Walgreens cash back. It would still have been under $25 for these items, which again, with the Crest, that's still less than one of those Crest items. You know, again, the Crest pen, which is the cheaper of the items, it was still almost $30 at a regular cost, and I still ended up spending less than that as a net cost. It's just, again, too, this week's out of pocket was kind of high. So overall, I thought the deals, like I said, were really good this week. Again, out of pocket's going to be pretty high, but this is the last week we have of that beauty deal. And again, if you do need to use up some of your Walgreens cash, these Purex are a great way to do that as well this week. But that does it for me from Walgreens. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure you guys like and follow. And if you guys have any other hauls or deals that are going on for this week, let me know, and I will see you guys all in the next haul. So bye guys.